Good afternoon, pretty much evening, everybody. Today is Sunday, August 6th, and let's go over what happened here today at Buoy 10. First, I came out here to drop my carcasses, and we're getting near high slack, so I got the bridge right there. And might as well put a rod out, so see if I can't catch one here in the next 5-10 minutes while I do the update. Today we stayed in the river. It sounded like the ocean was really slow out there. It was an interesting day for me. I know some guys absolutely whacked them today. I just felt like I was 10 minutes behind the bike constantly, and that was because I was chasing water temperature, which really paid off yesterday. And today, they were in a different water temperature. So what I always tell you guys every single year is, these reports do not help. They will not help you whatsoever. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. I just saw some fish come by my screen. I'll have to show it to you guys here next time I get some come through. So these reports will not help you. And that's because every 6 to 8 hours is a new tide change, and these fish will move 15-20 miles on each and every tide change. And as I learned from yesterday, they end up stacking in a different part of the water temperature. Yesterday they were in, again on my graph, yesterday they were in 68.5. Today they were in 70, 69.5, 70. So 1 or 2 degrees different water temperatures where they were staging. Now typically, at least in my experience, that happens after they've been in the water here for a while, and I usually see that once the tides get really low and they've dropped out when the fish have been in here for a while. But it seems a little bit early in this tide set for them to be already staging up and moving up into the river water, but that's my 2 cents. So I know guys caught some on bait. Usually when water temps are where they are in the 70s on my graph, then I like using hardware, especially spinners. When it's a little bit cooler, I like using bait or spinfish. But today I know the bait guys did really well. And so it's kind of hard to argue with the fish. Don't ever argue with them. There was one guy, in fact, I think he might have bailed, but there was one guy out here, Nick Popoff, Peel the Reel. I was next to him way too many times today because I saw that guy dump fish after fish after fish. So he had something figured out. He was absolutely putting on a clinic in front of everybody, and it was fun to watch. There was, 50 boats around, no one's touching anything, and oh, Nick's got another one. Oh, look, that's number 4 in the last 15 minutes. Awesome. So he had something dialed in. So sometimes just little tiny tips and tricks, whether it's, I know he runs bait a lot, but was it his leader length, his bumper length? Was it where he was in the water column? Was he digging dirt? Was he up? It's those little things that will be the difference between you catching fish and not catching fish. Today we ended up keeping 2. We let a few go, missed a handful of bites, not a ton. It was definitely slower for me today than it was yesterday. Probably my fault with where we ended up as far as up or down. I kept chasing that water temperature from yesterday, and they just weren't in it. And so once we started chasing the increased water temperature, we were on more fish. But what was interesting is that looking at my screen, these fish were being super lethargic today. I had piles of fish, way more fish on my screen today than yesterday. So there was a lot more fish around, but they come in the spread, they look at each lure and then bail, or just swim right through the middle of it and not even react. So usually I see them come in and the fins are going, they're kicking hard, they're thinking about it, they're darting over here, darting over there. And today they would just cruise right through like we didn't even exist. So it was a little bit frustrating to watch that happen. But tomorrow's a new day. Colors didn't seem to matter. Ooh, there's another fish on the screen. Come on, little buddy, come play. Come on, come play. Not gonna play. Again, they were lethargic. Tomorrow's a new day. We're gonna start early. I started late today. Tides are getting to a point where high slack could be close to daylight, so I'm gonna give it a shot at first light and hopefully see if we can't find some. So yesterday I mentioned that I wanted to do a Q&A. I had a ton of questions come in, so what I think I'm gonna do is answer a handful of them, and then I'll try and answer them individually where they came in, whether it's through social media or through the YouTube channel here. So picked out a few of them. I got them written down on the back of my little license thing. So let's get to it. First one was, what depth is your line at based upon the line counter? So right now I'm at 30 on the line counter, just picked a random number, and it is all based upon, well, if you guys remember high school geometry. It's Pythagorean theorem, size of a triangle. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So that is how you figure out how deep in the water column your line is. You're not going to bring a protractor out there and do math. So how do you figure that out? 45-degree angle is roughly half. So if I'm at a 45-degree angle at 30 feet on the counter, it's down about 15. Now, the way that I'm able to do it is I have my bow rods way up front, and so I'm able to look at the scope and turn my boat and see where the bow rods are. And I always stack my bow rods shallowest, and then middle rods a little bit deeper, back rods a little bit deeper too. And that was actually a question that came in. Where do I stack my leads? I run 16s on every rod so I can make sure that I'm in the exact same part of the water column as I want or need to be. So let's say I'm getting bid at 30 on the line counter. I can put every rod at 30 line counter, know with 16 ounces, they're all there. If I'm running different lead sizes, it's hard to tell exactly where I need to be in that same part of the water column. But what I've learned here too is that, boy, I'll tell you, they'll just come find you. When they want to play, they'll come find you. I've seen them come up 10, 15 feet in the water column. I've seen them come left or right from a long ways away. They can look down. For a fish to look down, all he has to do is turn his head a little bit and he can see down. So I've seen them come up, I've seen them come down, left, right. When they want to play, they come play. So that covers that one. What's the toughest part about being a guide? I get asked that a lot, and I always tee people up this way. Have you ever met a guide who has retired? No, not out here at least. We usually work until the day we die, and it's because we love it and because this is a very expensive hobby. And I know we got all the write-offs, but we're a lot like farmers where you have $1 million in equipment to make 30 grand a year. So we look the part with all of our boats and trucks and everything else, but the reality is that it's a pretty expensive habit to be in. The best thing to do if you really want to be a guide is get a job somewhere else that has a lot of vacation. So some of the smartest guides out there are people like firefighters or work for the state or for the city, government workers, because they have a good retirement plan, they have flexible schedules, they get 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks off a year so they can take off the entire Buoy 10 season and come out and come play. There's no retirement plan here. You're the accountant, you're the mechanic, you're the janitor, you're the office manager, you're everything being a sole proprietor, and that wears on you. You have to take a phone call nonstop, and you're gone all the time. I mean, that's part of the reason why my wife and I decided that we're probably not going to have kids, is because I'm gone 4 to 6 months out of the year, and she would be a single mom, and that's not fair to her or to the child. So that is the toughest part about being a guide. You're gone a lot, high stress, long days. Today I was up at 5, and it is after 5 o'clock right now, still doing the update. I still got to clean the boat, get gear ready for tomorrow, eventually shower, eat, talk to the wife. There's a lot to it. There really is, but I love it. And for any guide that starts complaining, you hear them complain, guess what? They can quit right now. They can quit immediately. We're all self-employed. If we don't like it, get out. All right, next question. How to develop a pattern. So that kind of answers a few other questions that came in too. The way I put a pattern together to figure out exactly what the fish are looking for. 1 bite is a fluke, 2, you're getting somewhere, 3 is a pattern. Once you get 3 bites on 1 setup, 1 speed, 1 depth, 1 color, 1 scent, then you're starting to make some progress. For putting together a pattern, I always start with 3 rules. Number 1 is location. Where are they? Up or down river, up and down in the water column? Are they at the bridge? Are they down a checkerboard? Once you get there, you find the fish, what part of the water column? Got to be in the right place. I don't care if you got the best gear, best bait, best lure. If you're not on top of the fish, you're not catching them. Number 2 is presentation. So that means speed, that means bumper length, leader length, that means a million and one things. You know, do they want triangle flasher? Do they want pro troll? Do they want trolling fast? Do they want slow? Do they want a shorter, longer bumper or leader length? All those things play a role before you even worry about number 3. And number 3 is color and scent. What color do they want? What scent do they want? Do they want bait or lure? That is the third and final thing to put together. You get a lot of these people that say, hey, what color were you using? Wrong question. It's the wrong question. The right question is, how far out on line counter with how much lead and what was your speed over ground? Start there. Okay, now you go to part 2, which is presentation, leader length, bumper length, everything else. Then you can worry about number 3, which is color and scent. So that's how I put a pattern together. And another question that came in was, how do you figure out what you're going to do tomorrow? Well, again, I have no idea. I kind of just look for a water temperature based upon how I ended the day before and take an educated guess. And even though we're down here every single day, you still are starting from scratch. Every tide change because they move so much. Tomorrow they could be way above the bridge. They could be, who the heck knows? They could be anywhere. So you just kind of take it with a grain of salt, wake up, go to work, start somewhere, and then wait for the phone to ring, someone else who found the bite for you. Kind of nice having a network down here. A lot of people to talk to. Let's see, probably one of the last ones I'll do here, because I'm starting to get into a long video and these take an hour or two for me to upload. So I don't want it to pop up at 10 o'clock at night and ting all your phones. So last one I'll do right now, and then again I'll try and answer the rest of them online or wherever they popped up and help wherever I can. What do I put inside my spinfish? I'll probably do a video on that here the next day or two. I'm using Fish Nip, which is a ProCare product. It comes in a big pack, and what's nice about that is that big pack, I can make 3 or 4 different little jars, and in those jars I'll put 3 or 4 different scents. And the Fish Nip comes pretty dried up, cured, and what I do is I use the water soluble oils to flavor them up, and that reconstitutes that stuff. And all it is just tuna. It's just tuna that's been, oh, there's a pile of fish. I'm gonna make a little turn here. I'm gonna stay outside the deadline though. By the way, folks, there is a deadline. You have to stay north of the green can line from essentially the bridge down to sawdust pile. Oh, that is an absolute pile of fish. I gotta show this to you. Look at that pile of fish coming through. They're a long ways away from my gear, but that was cool. Dang it. Missed those ones. So anyways, back to Fish Nip. So Fish Nip, I just add the water soluble oils to it, and the consistency I'm trying to look for is basically like Play-Doh. When I get that consistency, then it'll go into the spinfish real easy. It cleans out easy, but it's thick enough that it'll stay in there and not just wash out, and not too thin where it just washes out. So hopefully that helps. I think with that, I'm about ready to go take a shower, eat some dinner, call the missus, start getting back to some of your questions, tie up leaders for tomorrow, start over fresh. Thanks as always for tuning in. See you guys. Ooh, fish. Oh, I was really hoping to show you guys a fish on camera. Dang it. Nope, nothing happening. Okay, well, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Later.